Hi folks, welcome back. So in the previous set of videos, we have come across what are these Helm charts. Basically, we have given an introduction to Helm charts, and then we saw how to generate a typical your own Helm chart, and then we have come across with several Helm chart commands and couple of the customizable options with whether it in terms of in flow control or conditional statements are in terms of having the multiple values, basically the usage of value files, all those things we have already understood. So now that we have the solid foundation of all these things, let's try to play around with some of the public repos. Let's try to understand how to deal with the publicly available Helm charts, and how we can customize the way we want, and how we can install it in a particular Kubernetes cluster. So let's quickly go to the command prompt, and let's try to add a couple of public repos, and let's see the different options available in the Helm chart. So I have my own GK cluster here. So Helm is already installed. You can go ahead and check it. So as you can see, Helm is already installed. So let's see, if I have any repo in my local. So as you know, if I give Helm repo list, it will show if at all, if any of the available repos already in my local. So now let's go to the official documentation of Helm. So this is the docs home, the home directory of your Helm. So inside the introduction section, you have the quick guide, like basically the quick start, like how you can proceed with the Helm chart. What are the prerequisites? How basically you can start with the Helm chart. How you can download a particular chart public repo into your local, and how you can install it, and all a sample example they have given. And then typically how to install the Helm and all, which you have already dealt in the previous session. Now there is one more, like how you can use this Helm and all. So if you come down a bit, so you will see here the Helm search option, and then how you can basically add the repo and basically install all those things. So here specifically, let's see this Helm search option. So here you can see Helm comes with a powerful search command. It can be used in two different types. One is the basically the artifact hub, and another one is this local repo. So let's try to understand what is this. So there is a central artifact hub which is totally the community driven, where you will find thousands, or it could be even the lakhs, 10 thousands of the numbers of publicly available Helm charts, where a single Helm chart available from the multiple community, that itself you can see in this. So that is what this. So let's take this command and quickly let's just search the Helm search hub, and if it will basically go and search in this publicly available community driven artifact, and it will show you all the list of packages. If specifically if you want to list along with the entire repo URL, always you can go back and give this option, so that it will give you the fully qualified the repo URL. And so for example, let's see if I want to search say a Grafana chart in this. Let's see what are all the options I get. As you can see, you have these many options, these many publicly available charts to install the Grafana. You can see here multiple. For example, there is one separately packaged by this particular this guy. There is one more the name called Ajay, where he has done his own. Like similarly, you will have the official Grafana one as well. So how you can find which one is the official one is always you can go back and search Grafana Helm chart. So there you go. This will give you the community driven Helm chart for Grafana. So as you can see, if you want to add the Grafana chart in your local, you can always use this. Let's do this particular thing. So what we will do now, let's see if I have anything. Helm repo list, nothing. Now let me try to add. So what this particular command does is, you can see Helm repo add. What is the repo name? Grafana. And what is the URL for that repo? This is the one. Okay. So now if I do Helm repo list, you can see here, this is the repo. So now let's try to play around little bit with this publicly available repo. Basically now it's no more a public because you have already downloaded from the public and you have added in your local. So now that means this particular Helm chart is already available in your local. So now let's try to play around a bit about this. Now what I will do, Helm search and then the repo name. Now in this particular case, what happens? It will just search this in your local. So as you can see, it contains these many charts. Basically, it's a bundle of all these things. So to install the Grafana itself, you can use this, and then the Grafana agent, Grafana operator, like that. Grafana and complete bundle of the charts are available in this. Now, let's if you say for example, if you want to install the Grafana itself, all you can do is Helm install and then the chart name, I mean the release name, whatever you want you can do. In my case, what I will do is I'll just give Grafana chart. This will be my release name, which you guys have already know. And then from where you're releasing this, and then if you want to do any sort of customization and all, always you can do. Or if you want to just do dry run without installing, just you can give this. So this will just you know show you like what exactly I mean, it just shows that it will install in this way with all the publicly available information in that node.txt. Actually, it is not doing any installation, but when it installs, what are all the stuffs it is installing and all, it will give you. So if you see here, it's creating a service account and then the config map and then the actual a typical test part to see the connectivity, and then you have your service account one more, and then the secret. This is basically to access the UI, and then a couple of other config maps, cluster roles, role bindings, and then the actual Grafana deployment itself. As you can see here, whatever the release name I have given, basically that will be your deployment name. If I just give Grafana, this will be just Grafana. Since the release name I have given as Grafana chart, the corresponding value name, because this field always refers to the release name. So this we have already seen when we are discussing. I think in the video 2 or 3 when we are discussing about the Helm objects, where we have given the typical built-in objects like the release namespace, all those things, release service name, and all those things we have already discussed. So this you guys are already aware about this. So this is about a typical thing. Now that let's assume there is a scenario where I want to customize this Grafana deployment. How can I do? Yes, you can always do, as you already know. There is a concept of the Helm values where you can customize whatever the value you need. So here as well you can do. So what we will do is let's go back, Helm search repo. So here what I will do, I'll just do Helm show values from this particular repo. I'm sorry, the particular chat. So as you can see here, it will just list you the bundle of the values. So what I will do is I'll just copy it just for the demonstration purpose. I'll go to VS Code and then I'll paste it so that it's easier for you guys to understand what are all the different options available in the value.file. As you can see, suppose if you want to install this Grafana only through private manner, basically now in this case it is pulling the Grafana image publicly. So as you can see here in the image section, so if you go down, there you go, it is going to docker.io, and then from the repository docker.io it is downloading your image. So if you can see, the particular image tag would be this. So it's basically from the public repository it is pulling. Now if you don't want to do this, always what you can do is download those images from the public repository and then tag it as per your organization standard and move it to your own registry. In case of an Azure, it would be Azure Container Registry. It could be in the GCR, the Google Artifact registry, because the Google Container Registry is no more used. It's almost like a deprecated feature, and Google recommends everybody to use the Artifact Registry. So Similarly, in Amazon, you can store it in, I think, Amazon Container Registry. I'm not sure about the name because I'm basically not an AWS guy. So always, you can go back and see. I think it's Elastic Container Registry or somewhere. I think that naming convention. You can always go back and check in that particular cloud, whatever the corresponding registry name. You can always go and store, your privately tagged images in that, and you can always pull from the image pull back secrets. uh, that is what the options here. If you are configuring, always you can uncomment and give your image pull secret name here, and then similarly the number of replicas. So in my case, I'm using only one Grafana instance. If you want the number of Grafana instance to be two, always you can give it two, like that. The auto scaling minimum replicas to start with one and maximum five. If you give minimum replicas itself is two, by default, two Grafana parts will be running like that. If you want to play around with any of the other properties here, you can always and go back. If you want to change the admin username, password, something like that, it has bundles of features. If you want to customize, if you want to put node affinity, like this Grafana deployment has to be set in a particular kind of a node, always you can go back and do. And if you want to set up some kind of an resources in terms of in CPU and memory, that as well you can do. Like that, it has bundle of options. You can always go back, and here as well, another interesting feature. If you want to store persistence, like to store the Grafana configuration, you have this PVC. By default, it is not enabled. If you want to enable, change it from false to true, and store the PVC size. By default, it is given 10 GB. You can always change it, the numbers, from the 10 to 100, 200, whatever, based on the kind of environment you are using and the kind of configurations you are having. Always you can go back and change here. So that's the typical approach about changing the value and play around with the values. So for time being, what I'll do is I'll just generate the value file for this. So I'll save it as maybe a Grafana value start YAML. So now what I will do, I'll just go and change the replica. So I'll change it from 1 to 2. That should be fine. So I'll save this. Now what I will do is the same helm install command. Now let's try to modify a bit. Now what I will do, the same helm, the install command, I will do one thing. I will give my release name now as just Grafana, and then the chart where it is referring. And now what I want to do is I want to release this entire, basically I want to install this entire Grafana in a particular namespace. So what I will do, I'll just give a namespace name here. Say for example, I want to do it as a monitoring namespace or mon namespace. I'll just give it as a mon. Or let's assume I want to do it in a namespace called platform. So I'll give a namespace called platform. uh, Sorry, just like since the namespace doesn't exist, it will be a create hyphen hyphen create namespace, and then the actual namespace name, let's give it as a platform. Since the platform namespace doesn't exist here, it will create the platform namespace. That's the reason why this command, and then I'm passing that particular namespace. Now that we have modified our Grafana configurations, like we have changed the replica from 1 to 2. So I'm supplying this value file as well using this value command. Now I don't want to install this. Let me just try to do dry run and see what exactly happens here. All right, so let's go back and see what is the release name it has given. Since I have given the release name as where it is a particular command, show values. I think I went too fast. Where it is? There you go. Helm install. So now you can see the namespace platform. So this particular stuffs whatever we are doing, basically the release whatever you're doing here, the installation of Grafana, that would be sitting in a namespace called platform, and the release name as such would be just Grafana that you can see here. So now if you come down and see the deployment, you can see the number of replicas as 2. That means even your customization, whatever you have done using the value.yaml, even that is working. And then, all other things. So what I will do is now let me try to install it itself and show you. Before installing, is this the only way where I can show all these things? Basically all the deployment stuffs, whatever it is this the only way where I can see using Helm show values and see all these things? Are do I need to do just do Helm install and hyphen dry run? Is it the only way where I can see? No, Helm provides another option as well. It gives an option called Helm template where you can give your particular the release name, whatever the release name you're intended to release this particular chat, and then the actual chat name. Even that will give you the stuffs as well. For example, if I give Helm template, just if you give Helm template help, you will see this bundle of options where it will give you the name and then the chart release name and then basically the chart name. So what I will do, same thing I will do now. Helm template, the release name I'll do just Grafana and then the chart name would be Grafana. If I just give like this, the same thing whatever you did in dry run will give here as well. So you have multiple options. So if you want to generate a custom Kubernetes YAMLs, you don't want to deal with Helm chart, and maybe some organizations will have some kind of a standard they don't want to use. They want to just play around with stick to the native Kubernetes YAMLs. Always you can leverage the Helm like this. You can generate YAMLs with the help of a template and save it, and then maybe what I'll do, I'll generate this entire template and I'll show it as save it as Grafana k8 maybe dot YAML. It's basically will give you all the set of Kubernetes YAMLs. There you go. So all you can do is just go ahead and apply this. That's all. It will go and install. So like there are many ways of dealing with this. So what I basically trying to say here is it's not mandatory that whatever the chart, however the way it is available in official repository, in any of the public repository, you need not to use it as it is. You can always do lot of customization for the chart and then tune it as per your requirement, the business use case and all those things. So that's the beauty of using the public chats. So now let's do Helm repo list. So now let's do one thing. Let me go back and change this value.yaml. I'll change the replicas to 1. Okay. Now let's install this. So if I go back, Helm install, rather than dry run, I'll just go ahead and install this. Let's give a couple of seconds. There you go. So it's installed now. Now what we will do, kubectl get ns. As you can see, it has created a namespace called platform and then it has installed everything there. Super. So it has installed Grafana Helm chart. So what we can do is Helm list without anything. It checks in default namespace. But in my case, I have installed it in platform namespace. So let me give this. So there you go. This is your release name. This is your release namespace. This is the revision when this was updated and what is the status of this and what is the app version, the chart name, everything is available. Now let's do one thing. Now if I do Helm repo list and then particularly Helm search repo Grafana, so you can see here the app version and then the chart version. Let's do one thing now. Helm repo update and then the repo name in my case is Grafana. Let's try to update this particular repo. Now that I have updated the repo, now let me try to search the repo and see if there any latest charts are available. Let's assume that it has changed from 8.10.1 to 8.10.3 and it is like 11.5.2 to 11.5.7. In that particular scenario, what you can do is, since we have already used Helm install to install it, so now let's go back. And also we will do one more thing. We have this grafana.value.yaml, right? So now let me change the replicas from 1 to 2. Okay, it's changed. Now let me go back to your Helm install command. There you go. Now what I will do is, now here what you need to do is Helm upgrade hyphen install. That means you are upgrading the existing chart. Now here rather than hyphen values, I will use just hyphen f, which is an alternative option for using hyphen values to this. Now hyphen f grafana values.yaml. Now what I will do is hyphen chart is equal to uh, the chart version, this one, and then hyphen set is equal to app dot version is equal to, so this one I will change it to this. Now let's ch chat, yes, unknown flag. So let's check the syntax. Helm install hyphen. Oh, it's just a version. Sorry, my bad. It's not chat, it's just a version. Don't worry, how to get it, I'll show you now. So let's upgrade this. You must be wondering what is this set? No, so I think set I've already explained in the second video, if I'm not wrong, when I was explaining about Helm value files, like how you can override particular values and all. I think I've shown it, but anyway, I'll show it again. Let this chart update. There you go. It's upgraded. Now what we will do is, let's do Helm list hyphen n platform. You should see the revision as 2. There you go. And all other informations. Now let's do one thing, kubectl get all hyphen n platform. There you go. The number of replicas increased from 1 to 2. Now let's for a moment, let's go back and do helm install hyphen help. There you go. You will see these bundles of options and couple of examples as well. If you go here, Helm install like hyphen in the value dot file and then your the release name and then the actual chart wherever in your local it is present. So even set command examples as well you can see here. So if you have a particular value, say for example foo, there you go. You can specify hyphen set flag multiple times. This property will be given to this given to the last set specified. For example, if both bar and new bar values are set for a key foo, now here whatever you set and then here you set, that would take preference. The new bar value will take preference because the same value, if you are playing multiple times, whatever the last value you applied, that will override. Like for example, if it is not there, then whatever you are setting foo is equal to bar, that itself will be applied. So further, if you come down, you will see a couple of options here, like uh, Specifically, the one which I'm referring here is val version, okay, and then hyphen hyphen values are hyphen f, both are working. That is what I showed you. And then yeah, now let's go back and see our grafana.value files once. So let's check version tag where and all it is present. I don't know why it is not showing. No problem. So always, what you can do is you must be wondering how did I take this, app dot version, app version. So always what you can do is go back to your chart.yaml and see what are all the options available here. Version, app version, cube version, all those things, these are all the set of, and then if you go to value.yaml itself, you have bundles of stuffs here. Like everything, if you want to override, you can always override. For example, hyphen hyphen set service account is equal to false, it will go and change false. Hyphen hyphen set replicas is equal to 2. For example, if I want to override without using value.yaml, you can always do. So what you need to do is go here and let's remove all these things. For example, hyphen hyphen set is equal to replicas is equal to 1. Now if I do this, let's see if it is changing from 2 to 1. There you go. Now let's check whether the replica size is reduced. Yep, it worked. Now let's see the Helm list command. Super. You can see here, the revision has changed, and that's the beauty. This is how you can play around with the public chats. So I've just taken Grafana as an example. Let's assume you want to install Prometheus, maybe Prometheus Helm chart. If you give, you can, it will redirect you to the official Prometheus, and then as well as the artifacts hub. I was, mentioning this, whichever is feasible for you, you can choose. So this is, the same thing. Artifacts will also redirect you the official repository, but that because official repository is also one of the community driven, right? As I was mentioning about this artifacts hub, like for example, if 10 or 20 different members are preparing the Prometheus chat, all 20 members Prometheus chats would be available, provided if they are changed in the artifact, stored in artifact hub, all 20 members Helm charts will be visible when you do Helm search hub and then specifically search for Prometheus. That's the beauty. So, if you see here, complete examples I have given, same thing in the here as well. Yeah, you can add this and you can install everything you can do. So that's the beauty. Any of the install. For example, if you want to install Cert Manager, maybe go to Cert Manager, and if you go to documentation, installation, Helm, there you go. Update this and then install it. If you want to generate a manifest, I mean, you can play around. This is how. Now I just showed you how you can, play around with this public repos. I hope, I have tried to cover almost all the scenarios with this. With this, let's, try to conclude this session. In the next session, basically we will try to figure out the different kind of an repository options for your Helm chart. Basically we will try to create our own, I mean, basically we'll package our own Helm chart, and then we'll try to store it in multiple places, basically the repository places. So we would be covering two scenarios. I mean, I'm planning to cover one example with your GitHub, with the GitHub repo, with the help of, enabling the GitHub pages feature. We will be storing your own custom Helm charts in the GitHub repo, and then how we can convert this as a URLs and add it into a particular local repos and then install it. That we will be seeing, as well as the one more scenario would be using the popular open source option called Chartmesuem. I would encourage all of you guys to go through Chartmesuem. That's just a fantastic tool. It's like in-house solution, and it's the best. You can secure it, you can tune it the way you want with the help of multiple options. Like it's highly flexible, whichever the cloud you are. It could be an Azure, it could be an Amazon, it could be in GCP. Everywhere it has an option, plus the native Kubernetes persistent volume options as well. It's just a fantastic tool. All right, folks, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.